Let me take you to a family's backyard in Murshidabad, West Bengal. It's here that a teenager named Babar Ali did something, well, something pretty unimaginable. But, this incredible journey isn't just about one person's great idea. It's really a story about how an entire community can come together to build its own future.
16. Just let that number sink in for a second. What were you doing at 16? I mean, really think about it. Studying for exams, maybe? Playing sports? Just trying to figure out what you wanted to do with your life? Well, hold that thought, because Babar Ali's world at that age, it was something else entirely.
You see, while most teenagers are running off to the playground after school, Babar Ali was heading to his own afternoon school. It's called Anand Siksha Niketan, and he wasn't just a student there. He was the headmaster to 800 underprivileged kids.
So how on earth was this even possible? Well, that's what we're going to break down today. First, we'll look at Babar himself. Then, we're going to meet the amazing woman who recruited his students, the teens who became his teachers, the village that propped him up, and finally, what this all tells us about the incredible power of people working together.
Okay, so first up, let's get to know Babar. During the day, he was a regular, studious Class 12 student, a model pupil actually, in his blue and white uniform. What made him different was that he was the very first person in his entire family to get a proper education. In his village, that made him one of the lucky few. So what did he do with that luck? Well, when he was just 9 years old, he started a game. He once said, "We used to play school, with me as teacher." See, his friends had never even seen the inside of a school, so for them, it was a blast just to pretend. And what started as a game with 8 friends in his backyard, it eventually turned into a real school, right there under the open sky. But of course, a school needs students. And this is where the story gets so much bigger than just Babar. One of the most important people in this whole story was a woman from his village named Tulu Rani Hazra. Tulu's story is just, wow. She was illiterate herself. In the morning, she worked as a fishmonger, walking through the villages to sell her fish. But in the afternoon, she became someone else entirely. She became this crusader for education, confronting parents who had pulled their kids out of school and finding new students who desperately needed a chance. And she wasn't just talking a good game, she was getting results. Tulu Rani Hazra, on her own, personally recruited 80 students for Babar's school. That's 10% of the entire student body, all brought in by the hard work of this one incredible volunteer. This is what community action actually looks like. All right, so Babar has the vision, and Tulu is bringing in the students. But who's actually going to do the teaching? Well, this is another part of the story that's just amazing. The entire academic backbone of the school was built by other teenagers. The whole teaching staff was made up of 10 volunteers. And get this, 9 of them were high school students, just like Babar. The most educated person on staff was a college student named Debarita. And together, this team of teenagers taught 10 different subjects to kids from 1st grade all the way up to 8th. So you might be wondering, why did this peer-to-peer model work so well? Well, Babar himself explained it perfectly. He said the small age gap meant the teachers were more like friends with their students. It created this comfortable, encouraging space, a world away from the strict, formal schools they've never had access to.
Okay, let's recap. We've got a teenage headmaster, a volunteer recruiter, and a staff of student teachers. But an operation this big, it couldn't just exist in a bubble, right? It needed a whole village, a deep and wide support system that just kept growing.
And that support system grew in stages. It started right at home, with his dad providing rice from his own fields for midday meals. Then it expanded. His own teachers and local monks started chipping in with encouragement. Pretty soon, sympathetic officials and even the local police began to help out. And this chain of support, it eventually led to official recognition from the state government, making the school a legitimate, real institution.
But let's just focus on that first crucial link for a second. His father, Nasiruddin Sheikh, was a jute seller, a man who had to drop out of school himself. But he had this profound belief that education is man's true religion. And it was that core belief that gave Babar the foundation he needed to even get started.
Okay, so let's bring it all together now. We've seen Babar's spark of an idea, Tulu's relentless drive, the dedication of the teen teachers, and this ever-expanding web of community support. This wasn't just a school anymore. It had become a movement. And the results of that movement are, frankly, staggering. It went from a backyard game at age 9 to a tiny school with just 8 students in 2002 to 9 years later, a force of 800 students and 10 volunteer teachers. I mean, that kind of a growth doesn't just happen. It's what happens when a whole community decides to invest in itself.
And that, right there, is the heart of this entire story. Babar Ali was the spark, absolutely. He was the catalyst who had the nerve to dream and to act. But it was the collective effort of his community, from an illiterate fishmonger to his teenage friends to his own father, that truly built and sustained that fire.
Babar Ali's journey is just powerful proof that one single, determined person can absolutely set a movement in motion. But it's also a profound lesson in shared responsibility. His story shows us that one person can start something amazing, but the real question it leaves us with is this: who will be there to keep it going?